So LG would love for everyone and their dog to run out and buy an OLED TV because they look awesome. Oh, and also high-end products usually have the best profit margins. But let's face it, hardly anyone can justify dumping $3, $4, or even up to $17,000 into a new TV. Then there's the budget category. I mean, we're talking like $400 4K TVs like this one. Well, it's no accident that LG has nothing to compete at this price. Stores like Amazon sell a lot of these kinds of products, but this segment often gets ignored by the premium brands because the margins on them are so thin that it's just not even worth the effort for them. Which puts the sweet spot where it so often is, in the middle, with LCD TVs like a Samsung QLED for a little over $2,000. You see what they did there? It even looks like OLED on the box. Or this one, the LG 65SK95 Super UHD, which you can actually get for around the same price. But just what is super about it, and can it take a chunk out of Samsung's dominant TV market share? We'll find out after this message from Glasswire. Glasswire is a firewall that displays your PC's incoming and outgoing network connections in real time. Use offer code Linus and get 25% off Glasswire 2.0 at the link below. The 65SK95 is LG's highest-end non-OLED TV at $2,400. So no, they're not ditching OLED yet, but they're acutely aware that until OLED makes up a lot more than the 15% of their overall TV sales that they are currently, they are going to need other offerings. As we mentioned before, Samsung's QLED TVs really have nothing to do with OLED, but they're really impressive for LCDs thanks to quantum dot technology, which allows them to get brighter, more saturated colors across a wider gamut by transmitting only pure red, pure green, and pure blue. Your typical LCD will emit a wider spectrum of light that includes in-between colors like orange and lime, leading to color desaturation and inefficiency. So that is where LG's Super UHD comes in. Super UHD, not to be confused with Samsung's SUHD, is an attempt to get similar performance to quantum dot, but with a different approach. And that's what this nanocell marketing that you see on the box is getting at. Now, no one actually knows quite for sure, but this technology appears to add a layer of uniformly sized particles, each about 1 nanometer in diameter, that's about 100,000 times thinner than a sheet of paper, to filter out the unwanted color wavelengths and leave just R, G, and B, thereby preventing color bleeding, fading, and other effects that reduce the vibrancy of the picture. And it seems to be working. The picture looks really good. Fiddling with the settings, we were able to get about 89% coverage of the DCI-P3 color space and color accuracy that's good enough to edit photos using the Technicolor Expert Bright mode. I mean, if your desk had enough room to use this thing as a monitor. And while they can't compete with OLED, nothing can, the black levels are really nice with smooth gradients thanks to the full array local dimming, which is quickly going from a pricey, exotic feature to a must-have. I mean, it makes enough of a difference that even though this TV is actually quite a bit thicker than last year's model, I'm not even mad at all. Like, finally, somebody has woken up. As a consumer, I've been asking for this. Give me more performance instead of 1 more millimeter thinner. I mean, this is thin enough anyway, and the finish on the back and the sides is nothing short of premium. I'd be happy to see this thing in my living room, and I'm really glad to see that we are finally coming to the end of thinner, just for the sake of thinner, in the mainstream product line, at least, because I'm also acutely aware that LG literally has a product called the wallpaper TV. On the subject of more performance, the full array local dimming is here for a good reason, to support HDR. This puppy has actual 10-bit color, no FRC malarkey, and 700 nit peak with 400 nit sustained brightness. So that is a bit under the 1000 nit threshold that I would consider like true modern HDR, but they did pull off Dolby Vision certification, whose main advantage over HDR10 is that it comes with scene-by-scene metadata for a higher degree of backlight control. And speaking of Dolby, it also has a built-in Dolby Atmos decoder. So if you're thinking of getting speakers on or aimed at your ceiling, you don't need an extra Atmos-compatible receiver as long as the HDMI signal goes through the TV. Finally, the 65SK95 has a refresh rate of 120 Hertz, or 240 if you're tasteless and you turn on TrueMotion. But don't get too excited about it quite yet. Even though I'm sure that LG has seen the video that we made outlining how our ideal TV would have DisplayPort, so you could game on it at high refresh rates. This one lacks either a DP 1.4 or an HDMI 2.1 port, so it won't be able to receive high frame rate 4K content from external sources. So you would have to stream your HFR content. Not that there's a lot of that out there. But, and this is something I'm glad to see because we've been complaining about the gaming experience on LG TVs for quite some time, at least they do allow you to run at 120 Hertz if you connect to the TV with your PC, if you turn the resolution down to 1080p. The input lag isn't too shabby at around 33 milliseconds, so not as fast as a high-end gaming monitor, but a significant improvement over last year. And because it's not OLED, you've got the additional benefit of not having to worry about your HUD burning in and showing up while you're watching your favorite movies. Also new this year is voice assistant integration coming from both the Google Assistant and LG's own ThinQ software. You know what? No, I'm calling it Think. ThinQ is obviously not what the marketing team intended. And if it is, then shame on them. Anyway, the TV is not microphone equipped, so it's not always listening like a Google Home. Instead, you actually issue commands by holding down the microphone button on the included remote. The Google Assistant will handle queries like, turn on the living room lights, what's on my calendar, or show everyone boring pictures from my last vacation. While Think will handle TV-specific operations, like changing the picture mode, adjusting the volume, or even turning off at the end of this program. Now, of course, we can't show any of that functionality because it doesn't work in Canada just yet. Something about the 49th parallel just makes manufacturers not care about the people north of it, but that's a whole separate conversation. So then, should you buy this TV? Definitely maybe. It's a beautiful set that goes toe-to-toe with Quantum Dot, both in terms of quality and price. But then again, LG has finally announced that their cheapest OLED for 2018, the B8, which has the same features and processor, but of course, that gorgeous deep black OLED picture quality, will be just $2,100, making it $300 cheaper than this Super UHD. That is if you're willing to settle for 55 instead of 65 inches. The 65-inch version is $3,000, so that's an extra $600. My advice, if you're a movie watcher and you're already spending this much, OLED is worth the upgrade. But if you're a gamer or someone who just watches the news all day, then I would probably save your money and go Super LED. Super LED? Super UHD. Speaking of super, Squarespace is super. Their award-winning templates make creating a powerful online identity easier than ever. Every template is a starting point for a wide range of projects, and they provide award-winning 24/7 customer support via live chat and email in case you're having trouble. You can also attend a live webinar or check out their help guides, and you can now transfer your third-party domains to Squarespace. So instead of working with multiple vendors to maintain your online presence, you can manage all your domain and billing settings with Squarespace. It's never been easier to sell products or services online. Squarespace allows you to easily manage your products, orders, and inventory. And if all that sounds great, you can go to squarespace.com/LTT. We're going to have that linked below, and use code LTT for 10% off your first purchase. So thanks for watching, guys. If this video sucked, you know where that button is. But if it was awesome, hit the like button, get subscribed, maybe consider checking out where to buy the stuff we featured in the link in the video description. Also linked down there is our merch store, which has cool shirts like this one, and our community forum, which you should totally join. Actually, this was limited edition. This isn't down there, but there's cool shirts like it.